Good morning to all. We have to started our unit number 5, that is object oriented programming. So first point of this unit is introduction. So here in introduction slide we have to discuss what is meant by program, what is meant by programming languages. So the basically program is a collection of instructions that tells the computer how to solve a particular problem. Whenever we have to solve any kind of problem or any kind of problem statement in a program, then we can create a program execution steps. For that steps is called as a instructions. Whatever instructions has to be provided to that execution of a program, that instruction called as a steps, that is nothing but the collection of instructions. We have to provide that instructions to the computer and provide some solution to solve how program execution. So second one is the programming languages. By using these languages we have to communicate with computer system to solving that particular problem or program. So it is specifically designed to express computation that can be performed by a computer. Whenever we have to provide some kind of solution to the computer system, by using languages we can provide some solution to the computer, that is called as a programming languages. So in programming language are used to create program that control behavior of system. By using programming languages we calculate the whatever behavior of that particular system, it will be calculated by using programming languages. So the next topic is programming paradigms. By using paradigms we can calculate the behavioral of the system, or we can provide some logic style how to program solve in a computer system. It is called as a paradigms. So programming paradigms is a fundamental style of programming that define how the structure and basic element of a computer program will be built. By using paradigms we can provide some fundamental style of programming languages that can be described how the structure or how the basic elements are used for solving that particular programming statement, it will be calculated. So the style of writing program, set of capabilities and limitations that programming language has depend on the programming paradigms it supports. So the basically programming paradigms can be depends on the style of writing program, means what, how we have to write the program in that particular programming language, then how many capabilities of accessing the input and providing the output, and limitations of that particular programming language, it is totally depend on the programming paradigms. Next, programming paradigms classified as follows. There are four types of programming paradigms. So first one is monolithic programming, second one is procedural programming, third one is a structural programming, fourth one is a object oriented programming. So these are the some types of paradigms how to provided in a object oriented programming unit. So first, monolithic programming. By using monolithic programming we have to emphasize on finding solution. The main basic goal for monolithic programming is to finding the solution for any kind of task or any kind of program. In second, procedural programming, it can give the stress on algorithm, means when we have to perform procedural programming languages programs, then we can focus on the algorithms, and algorithm is nothing but the step by step execution of that particular programming. So third one is a structural programming. In structure programming it is focuses on the modules, means we have to divide a large number of program into the sub parts. That sub parts are called as a modules. So we generally focuses on the number of tasks in a structural programming. Object oriented programming, it is emphasizes on classes and object. Everything is discussed on the classes and objects. So this is called as object oriented programming paradigms. Now the first paradigm is monolithic programming. In monolithic programming language the program is written with a single functions, means what, whenever we have to done any kind of program in by using monolithic programming or paradigm, then we can just create only one single function. Is a program is not divided into the parts. Here modularity approach is not used for dividing the large amount of program into the sub parts. So program is not divided into the number of parts, hence it is named as a monolithic programming. It is also called as a single thread execution. Single thread is nothing but the piece of program. So in monolithic programming we cannot divide the larger program into the number of subparts, and when we have to perform any kind of operation by using monolithic programming, then we can just create only one function, that is called as a single thread execution. When the program size increases, it leads to difficult. When the number of large size of program included in a monolithic programming or paradigms, so the size of increases to consider as a difficulty. In monolithic programming, language such as basic and assembly language, that data variable declare are global and the statement are written in a sequence. In monolithic programming, we have to declare some data variable as a globally, because when we have to declare global variable, then the access of that global variable inside all the programs or outside the program, whatever the operations or whatever the statements are written in a monolithic programming, it will be in a sequence form, means one by one we have to declare that particular statements. Next, the program contains jump statement such as go to, that transfer control to any statement as specified in monolithic program. We have to use a jump statement by using go to statement. When we have to go to go control from one statement to another statement, then we have to use the go to statement. By using go to statement, we have to jump from one statement to any kind of another statement. So the following figure shows the monolithic type of program. The global data can be accessed from any portion of the program. Due to this reason, the data is not fully protected. The concept of subprogram does not exist and hence is useful for a small program. So the monolithic programming, it is used for only small programming applications. It is not used to larger programming applications. So here the example of monolithic programming, in that example we have to provide some global data and we can just provide some statements, that is statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. After the third statement we have to provide go to statement, that is nothing but we have to jump the statement number 50 from statement number 3. So we can just pass the go to 50. After that 50 statement, 51 statement, 52 statement, then go to 1. After the statement number 52, I just jump to statement number 1, so I just use go to 1. Here we have to declare a global data. When we have to execute any kind of application in monolithic programming, then we can use global data variables. Global data variables means what? We have to declare that variables outside the functions and use that particular variable inside function and also outside the function. So the in larger program, monolithic paradigm is not suitable for performing the operations, or when we have to declare global data, it is not provided some security for the statements. So this is an example of monolithic programming. Second one is procedural programming. By using procedural programming, we have to divide the larger program into the small programs. Program is divided into the number of subroutines that access global data. Subroutines means subtask or subprocesses. So here we have to access a global data because we can divide the larger program into the smaller program. To avoid repetition, each subroutine perform a well-defined task. In procedural programming, we avoid the repetitions to perform declaring number of tasks. Subroutine can call another subroutine, means we have to call the subtask to the another subtask. When we have to divide the large program into the subtasks, then we can divide that task into the number of subtasks. Fortran and COBOL are two popular procedural programming languages. Here Fortran and COBOL are the two programming languages are provided into the procedural programming languages. Third one is the structural programming languages. In structural programming language, it can be specify the basic structure of our programming. So here it uses top-down methodology of programming. Top-down methodology means what? Whenever we have to perform any kind of operation or any kind of program, then the execution of that particular program is started from the top to bottom. So that is called as a top-down methodology of programming. The principal idea behind structural programming is as simple as the idea of divide and conquer. in structural programming we have to use the divide and conquer approach. When we have to divide the larger program into the number of tasks, then we have to perform the operations on that particular subtask. After the performing any kind of operation, then we have to find out the solution on that particular task and combine that task into the main program. So this is called as a divide and conquer, means dividing the particular program, finding the solution and combining that solution into the one form and provide to the main program. This is called as a divide and conquer approach. So a computer program can thought of a consisting of a set of tasks. Basically we have to see in the program is nothing but the collection of instructions. So here a computer program is a consisting of a number of set of tasks. Any task that is too complex to be described simply would be broken down into a set of smaller component tasks. We have to see the concept of modularity. Modularity means we have to divide the larger program into the number of subtasks until the tasks were sufficiently small and self-contained enough that they were easily understood. When we have to divide the larger program into the subtasks, then finding the solution for that subtask, it is easy to find. Example, computing the average salary of every employee. If a company is a rather complex task, you can break it down into these subtasks or modules. So we have to divide that problem into the number of steps or number of subtasks. So first, find out what each person earn. Second, count how many peoples you have. Third, total all the salary. Divide the total by the number of people you have. Means what? We have to divide the given problem statement into the number of 4 tasks. How to calculate the salary of each and every employee which are present in a company. There are 4 steps are provided for the finding solution for that particular problem. Find out what is each person earn, means each and every person how many salaries earn, it is calculated. Then second, count how many people you have, means we have to calculate how many people are working for in our company. Say third, total all the salary. We have to add the all employees salary and finding the total of given salary. And last, divide the total by number of people you have, means we have to find out the average, how many salary calculation and divided by how many people are present in that particular company. Means what? We have to provide the number of tasks or subtasks to finding the solution of main program. So in structural programming, it is provided by the modularity approach or divide and conquer approach. Then the object oriented programming. Object oriented programming, by using object oriented programming, everything is related to object and classes. So OP pays more importance to data rather than function. In object oriented programming, we have to consider the data rather the functions. Programs are divided into the classes and their member functions. When we have to consider OP programming, then we have to consider the classes and their member functions. OP follows a bottom-up approach. Whenever whatever operations or whatever program in execute in OP, then the execution start with bottom to up. So it can follow the bottom-up approach. Then new data items and functions can be comfortably added whenever essential. In OOP programming language, we can add the data members and member function requirement of the user. Data is private and prevented from accessing external functions. Here we have to provide some access specifier for providing the data security. Whatever the data members and member functions are created in a program or classes, it will be secured by using access specifier in object oriented programming. Objects communicate with each other through functions. When we have to create the number of objects from one class, then the object can be communicate with another object through the functions. Whatever functions are declared in the particular class, it will be used for communicating from one object to another object. Here the example is given, relation between data and member functions in OOP. Here the three objects are created. Here basically the three objects are nothing but the classes of objects. So object A, object B, object C. So each and every object has been defined as a data variables and member functions. By using one object, it will be calculated to the another object. So object A can be communicate with the object B, and object B can be communicate with the object C by using their member functions. So in object A, we have to declare data variables and member functions. As I told you, object communicate with each other through functions. Means when we have to communicate one object to another object, then we have to declare the member functions for both object. By using member functions, we can communicate easily from A to B, or similarly B to C. So this is the example of relation between data and member functions in object oriented programming. So the next point is object oriented versus procedural oriented programming. Here the difference between OOP and POP concepts, that is object oriented programming and procedural oriented programming. So the first point is object oriented programming is the problem solving approach and used where computation is done by using object. In object oriented programming, when we have to solve any kind of problem or solve any kind of a task, then we can consider as an object for solving that particular problem solving. In procedural programming language, when we have to solve any kind of problem or any kind of instructions or tasks, then we have to use some steps. In second, it makes the development and maintenance easier. By using object oriented programming, whatever the developing or maintenance of that particular program, it is easy. In procedural programming, it is not easy to maintain the codes when the project become lengthy. In procedural programming, when the amount of program is program application or project is considered, then the maintain of that particular program code is not easy because the length of that particular program or project. In object oriented programming, it simulates the real world entity, so real world problem can be easily solved through OOP. In object oriented programming, we have to provide each and everything as a real world entity. So whatever the problem is occur, to solve that particular problem, it is used for OOP. In procedural programming, it doesn't simulate the real world. Means in procedural programming language, we cannot provide any kind of objects, so it doesn't simulate the real world. It works on a step by step instructions divided into small part called functions. Whenever we have to solve any kind of problem in procedural programming, then we can use some functions. And when we have to solve any kind of problem in object oriented programming, the all things are related to the objects. So in object oriented programming, we have to provide some objects, and when in procedural programming, we have to provide some functions. So next point is it provide data hiding. So it is more secure than procedural language. You cannot access private data from anywhere. In object oriented programming, we have to provide some access specifier. By using that access specifier, we can provide some security for data members. So there are three access specifier are provided in the object oriented programming, that is private, public and protected. These are the some access specifier. By using that access specifier, we can provide some data hiding or data abstractions. In procedural programming, doesn't provide any proper way for data binding, so it is less secure. In procedural oriented programming, we cannot provide any kind of data handling on binding process or method, so the data is not secured in procedural programming. So a few example of object oriented programming language in C++. So here we have to provide some example of object oriented programming, that is C++, Java, .NET, Python, C#. These are the example of object oriented programming. Then examples of procedural language, that are C, Fortran, Pascal, VB. This is the example of procedural programming. So here in this topic, we have to see the difference between object oriented programming and procedural programming. So next, the concept of class in Python. So in object oriented programming, as I told you, the number of tasks or number of things are presented by objects, and objects, it is nothing the part of classes, or object is an instance of a class. When we have to declare any kind of object, then we can declare a class. Without class we cannot create an object. So class is an important concept which are present in a object oriented programming. So here a class is used to describe something in the word. Whenever we have to describe any kind of thing related to the anything, then we can use a class. So class provide template or blueprint that describe the structure and behavioral of the set of similar objects. When we have to declare a class, it can provide some templates is nothing but the structure, or it is provided a blueprint that describe the whatever the structure are provided to the set of similar objects. For example, class student, here we have to create one kind of class, that name is student. It having attributes roll number, name, course and aggregate. Operations can be performed on this get data, set data, edit data. Data and set of operations are applicable to all students, that is object of that class. So here we have to take one example, that is class student. Whenever we have to declare any kind of class, then class keyword is used. So here we have to declare a class by using class keyword, and student is a class name. After that we have to create one method or function, that is init method. Here we have to pass def keyword at the beginning of that init method, so it is called as a functions, or it is also called as a constructor. Constructor is nothing but the special member function which has provided by the same class name. So here this init method or function, or it also called as a constructor, can provide the self argument roll number, comma name, comma course. Here the self is a current object of that particular init method. By using init method or init function, we have to initialize whatever the data members are present in that particular class. It will be initialized by using init method. While the declaring of that init method, we can assign def keyword, after that double underscore init and double underscore at the end of that init method, and provide in parameters for that particular function, that is self, comma whatever the data members are present in that particular class. So here we have to use we have to initialize that particular parameter whatever pass to the init function by using self object. So here self dot roll number is equals to roll number, self dot name is equals to name, third self dot course is equals to course. So here by using initialization method or init method, we have to initialize whatever the data members are present in that particular class. After that def show data, this is a member functions. Def show data, in that we have to pass one parameter, that is self. By using that self object, we have to initialize roll number in the show data method. So here print in bracket self dot roll number. So in member function or method show data, we have to show the whatever the data members are present, or whatever the data is present in that particular class, we have to just print that particular data.